Good morning and welcome to Brilliance Within. I'd like to talk to you this morning about change and making changes in your life, maybe setting yourself some new goals, creating new habits, getting rid of some old habits. And I don't know about you, but there's lots of times where over the years I've started out full of enthusiasm to make a change in my life, only to find my motivation waning after a period of time and I fall off the wagon. Do you recognise that in yourself? Well, I 18 months ago was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and it was a life-changing moment for me, and it certainly meant that I had to make some significant changes in my life. And the big change that I made was to, after some research, was to go on a low-carb diet. That worked out brilliantly well for me in terms of putting my diabetes type 2 into remission. I managed to lose over between probably about 25 pounds, just over 1.5 stone, and I've kept that off for the last 18 months, which is fantastic. So I give myself a pat on the back for doing that, and it did put my diabetes into remission. However, as part of the diabetes control, it is important to have a good exercise regime, and mine was non-existent. So having changed my diet successfully, I found that my weight had plateaued for probably the last 6 to 9 months. So I lost the weight initially, but then I've plateaued. So although I've stuck to the low carb diet, my weight hasn't decreased anymore. And realistically, I'd like to lose another stone, another 14 pounds. So I set myself a challenge, having attended the Paul O'Mahony online business mastery training. He talked there about how to change habits. So although it wasn't connected with online, he gave a great talk there about how to change habits. That inspired me to set up the 90-day Changing Habits Challenge group, based on the theory that changing a habit takes an average of 66 days. Therefore, to exceed that and go to 90 days, you've got a much better chance of keeping that habit going as a lifetime changing habit. So the new group started back in August. I set out on developing a new exercise regime, and it started off brilliantly. So I managed to stick to the routine for 55 days. Now that is a first for me. I've never exercised in 57 years for 55 days consistently. So I give myself a pat on the back for that. So I have achieved something I've never achieved previously. However, yesterday I fell off the wagon. I didn't do my exercise for the day, and looking back, I can now see that my motivation probably started to wane around about the halfway point. So I've got myself back on the wagon today. I'm back on track. I've been out this morning and done my exercise regime. However, as part of the 90-day challenge, the rule was that if you missed a day, just one day, the calendar resets back to day one. Now, I toyed with the idea. Who would know? Only me. Therefore, you know, maybe I should just carry on and nobody would know any different. And that would have been the case. However, I would have known different. And the important thing with this Change a Habit challenge is that we change those habits to become a life-changing, you know, we're incorporating them into our life. So the only person I would have been cheating would have been myself. So I haven't. I have owned up. I've confessed on the Facebook 90-day challenge, Change a Habit challenge group. I've confessed on a blog post, so the world and his oyster now knows that I got to 55 days and then fell off the wagon. However, I'm back on. I've jumped straight back on. Now, in the past, when I haven't achieved a goal, I might have been tempted not to try again. That's no longer the case. The difference is that I now know that if I continue with the same strategy as I started out with 55 days or 56 days ago, that the likelihood is I'll hit the same roadblock around about the same time. So I've decided to change the strategy. If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. So the results will be the same if we take the same action. So I'm not going to take the same action. This time I am going to split the challenge into 2 distinct halves. I'm going to have phase 1, which is 45 days, and I'm going to have phase 2, which is 45 days. At day 45, I've put a note in my calendar. So I've diarised a calendar date with myself to set time aside to review the progress that I've made over the first 45 days. I think I'm being realistic because I know that I've already achieved 55 days, so I'm going to build on the success that I've already achieved in the first round of my challenge. So I know I can do 55, so I know I can definitely do 45 days without a break. And at 45 days, instead of just carrying on and letting those negative voices in my head take control and pull me off the wagon again, this time I am going to sit down and do a proper review of how I've progressed so far, what's worked really well, what hasn't worked so well, and what I can do differently for the next 45 days if necessary. I'm also going to remind myself, and I think this is really important, of the reasons why I want to succeed in this challenge and why I want this to become part of my daily life routine. I want to make sure that exercise is included and incorporated into a life-changing way of life, so to speak. So at day 45, I will be conducting that review. I'll be setting myself my milestones for the next 45 days, and I know I can achieve 45 days because I've already done it. So I think I am building on success, and I'm setting myself up for success for the second phase of the challenge. So there you have it. If you are interested in joining the Change Your Habit Challenge group, you can find me on Facebook under the Brilliance Within page. You can also find me on my blog, which is https://www.brilliancewithin.com. There are posts on there about how you can join the 90-day challenge group, but if you want to leave your name and email address in the sign up box, then you will automatically be enrolled into the group, which I automatically send lots of top tips and tools on how to make changes in your life. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this update. I hope you can see that it is possible to overcome those blocks and barriers. And if you do find yourself getting knocked off course, there are ways to get yourself back on course. And even if you've, like me, you've had to reset the calendar at day 1, remind yourself of all the positive things that you've achieved in that first period of time. For me, it was 55 positive days where I learned to enjoy exercise, because there were lots of days where I really enjoyed going out on my bike, on hula hooping, doing the stretching exercises, and even the facial neck toning exercises, which is probably much needed. So, you know, I've learned to do something there new that I've not done previously in 57 years, so that's fantastic. I give myself credit for enjoying the exercise and for those reasons why I was starting in the first place. So if you want to join us in the challenge and make some changes, then please leave me a note with your name and email, and I certainly will enroll you to receive the top tips and tools that will help you keep you on track. Okay, great to meet you, great to talk to you this morning, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye!